Growing up in the early 90s, my TV diet mainly consisted of Nickelodeon cartoons, such as Hey Arnold, SpongeBob SquarePants, and The Rugrats. They were seminal cartoons of their time, and they are still loved today by generations around the world. But while I still like all of those shows, Batman the Animated Series was no doubt my favourite. I can't really say why I loved it at the time, but if I had to sum it up, I'd say it was because it was darker, more brooding, and definitely felt like there was stakes involved in each episode. Not to mention the opening sequence with Danny Elfman's theme tune was absolutely fucking epic at the time. And it still is. It was a pleasant change from the usual happy-go-lucky TV content that kids are usually exposed to. Instead of bright colours filling the screen, the main thing that we saw was shadows and darkness. And as a 7-year-old boy growing up in Ireland, the dark and moody atmosphere made me feel right at home.
Don't make unnecessary journeys!
As the news broke a few weeks ago that the voice of Batman, Kevin Conroy, passed away,
Jesus Christ!
my local cinema decided to put on a screening of Batman, Mask of the Phantasm in honour of his memory. And wouldn't you know it, I booked tickets straight away. Now, if you haven't watched the Batman animated series before, then the movie serves as a perfect introduction, explaining the origin of Batman and the general dynamic between all of the characters. The story itself is very simple, as any cartoon aimed at kids would be. The general plot line is something like this. Some mysterious figure is going around killing mob bosses and gangsters, and based on the witness accounts and media suspicions, people start to believe that Batman is the one committing all the crimes. Meanwhile, Bruce Wayne is busy grappling with the fact that a lost love has returned to Gotham City by the name of Andrea Beaumont, and he wonders if there's a possibility of ever rekindling their old love. The movie unfolds as a Scooby-Doo mystery in many ways. We know that the character committing the murders isn't Batman, but we don't know who's hiding behind the mask. So Batman conducts his own investigation and tries to track the killer down. As that happens, we see a series of flashbacks of Bruce Wayne starting off his process of becoming the Dark Knight. We see him training in Kung Fu and fighting crime on the streets at night, dressed only in a balaclava and a baseball jacket. Then one day he visits his parents' grave and he meets Andrea. The two of them hit it off almost instantly and Bruce falls in love. So much so that he actually proposes to her. All of this sounds well and good, but the flip side of this is that with Bruce falling in love, he doesn't know if he should pursue his duty as Batman. It's a concept that I found very intriguing, and it's something that adds great depth to an already broken character. You see, he visits his parents' grave as he struggles to decide what path he should go down. The path of happiness with Andrea, or the path of avenging his parents' death. We see Bruce struggle with this decision as he tries to come to terms with the overhanging guilt of now fulfilling his vow to his parents of making Gotham a safer place. The most poignant moment for me was when he says,
I know I made a promise, but I didn't see this coming. I didn't count on being happy.
It's very powerful stuff, and not something that you'd expect to find in a kid's cartoon. This is why this film is so good to me. It explores the tragic element of Batman, because like it or not, he's a tragic hero who's strung up by grief and guilt, lurking in the shadows and darkness, and never fully able to find the light again. Yeah, he thinks he's doing the right thing by fighting crime and getting the job done outside the law, but he's also a character who's intrinsically broken inside, unable to move on from the past and create a happy future for himself. And I think that's what I like most about him. The movie seems to be very similar to The Long Halloween and Year 1 and Year 2 Batman storylines, but they also managed to introduce enough new elements in there to bring it all together in a satisfying and original narrative. Mark Hamill returns as the Joker and knocks it out of the park as usual. And with the passing of Kevin Conroy, the movie itself struck a more poignant tone with me as I walked out of the movie theatre. Seeing the two of them together all throughout my childhood and in recent years as part of the Arkham games really left an indelible imprint on my life. It's a very strange feeling knowing that the people who brought you joy in your childhood have now passed on, and you can't help but feel more aware that you're not young anymore. The figures of my childhood have become less and less in recent years, and I have to find some way to accept that. But while I do, I can always go back and watch the amazing work that they left behind. And I can always take pleasure in that. It goes without saying that Batman Mask of the Phantasm lands firmly in the alright category for me. And if you haven't seen it, then I suggest you do. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch up soon.